Okay, so today we're going to talk about swim bladder disease, and the reason we're going to talk about swim bladder disease is because I have a fish who has swim bladder disease. This right here is Anakin. He's brand new. He was surrendered to me yesterday, and he got swim bladder disease today. The first thing you have to do when you have a fish with swim bladder disease is identify the cause. The most common cause, and the cause here, is constipation. This is the number one cause of swim bladder disease. However, there are other things, other conditions that could cause it that are incredibly severe and must be treated right away. It's a definite medical emergency. But you can see here, he's otherwise healthy, he's active. He did have an appetite yesterday when I fed him, and he's not pine coning. I'm having trouble getting my camera to focus here, but you can see he's otherwise healthy. He's just very bloated. His stomach is, and he's constipated, and he's just not having a good day. So once you've identified that constipation is the cause, the way to treat swim bladder disease is to treat the constipation. What I have done here is I've taken him out of his 5.5 gallon tank and put him in this little cup. This is actually one of those little cups that you can get from the pet store that those moss balls come in. So, and I always save these all the time for specifically this reason. So he's in this, and it is conditioned, and it is the same temperature as the water as in his tank, and I have put about a teaspoon of Epsom salts in this water, and he's going to sit in here for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'm going to put him back in his tank. This is an Epsom salt bath, and it's very good for a variety of conditions. And just as Epsom salts act as a laxative for people, it acts as a laxative for fish. So he's already pooped once in here. I had to take it out because he looked like he was going to try and eat it, but it was brown, which is a good thing. Sometimes their poop can be white and stringy, which can be caused by constipation, but it's usually caused by parasites. So his poop was brown. That's a good sign. And that's the other reason I like putting them in here, because if they do poop, then I can see it and I can see what it looks like. And as gross as it is to deal with animal poop, it's a really good idea. It's a really good way to see exactly what's wrong with them. With him, it's just regular old run-of-the-mill constipation, probably due to stress and being overfed. I fed him 3 pellets yesterday. I do not know how much he was fed before he was brought to me, so he was probably overfed, and now he's constipated, and now he has swim bladder disease. So he's in his Epsom salt bath. You can see he tries to swim down, but he just floats right back up to the top, and he tries so hard. Swim down, swim down. Anyway, it's not life-threatening. This isn't a big deal. It's uncomfortable for him. It's unpleasant. He doesn't like it. He's not having a great day. Anyone who's constipated and bloated is uncomfortable, but it's not life-threatening. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you see here he's stuck at the surface. Which is if you're going to have a fish with swim bladder disease, this is preferable. The other thing is they can be stuck on the bottom and really struggle to get up to the surface. If that's the case, you must act immediately. You must do something. You must lower the level in his tank. You must do whatever you need to do. They will drown if they cannot reach the surface. Their gills, are not efficient enough to give them enough oxygen. They must have access to the surface so they can breathe. So that's the big thing. And I will be watching him like a hawk to make sure that it doesn't switch and he doesn't sink to the bottom. As long as they're up near the surface, you're good. You're fine. So he's in his Epsom salt bath here. He's going to stay in here for about 15 more minutes, and I'm going to put him back. And the next thing is I'm going to fast him for 3 days. If you have a fish with constipation, stop feeding it completely. Do not feed it at all for 3 days. 1, 2, 3. They're going to be pissed at you. They kind of like food, but they're fine. They can go so long without food. They should not go so long without food. That's bad. But being fasted for 3 days is it's fine. It's not going to hurt them in the slightest. Their bodies can handle it. Most people, and myself included, actually, I fast my fish once a week, even when they're healthy anyway, just to kind of give their digestive system a break and keep them regular. So fasting your fish is a good idea, and it's absolutely necessary when they're constipated, especially when they're severely constipated like Anakin is. So Epsom salt bath every day for about 15 to 20 minutes and fasting, and then after 3 days I'm going to feed him a pea. Now you can use peas or you can use something called Daphnia. It's a frozen fish food that you can get at your local pet store. I do not use it for a couple of reasons. First, I have never had a fish who would eat it, which is actually kind of odd. Bettas usually, as I'm told, love it. I've tried to feed it to 2 or 3 different fish throughout the years who were constipated, and they would never eat it. It is preferred to a pea because a pea is plant matter, and bettas are carnivores. Plants are not part of their natural diet. The other thing is, I live in a big city, so I have a lot of national chain pet stores near me, but the one that is closest to me never has it. They're always sold out of it. They never buy enough. So if you live in a smaller town, you only have one pet store that never has it, you may not have access to it. Pea might be your only option. So if that's the case, then a pea is fine. It will not hurt them. Couple things though, it needs to be a frozen pea. It cannot be canned because canned peas, you have a lot of preservatives added, you have sodium in particular added, not a great idea. And if you have fresh peas, you run the risk of pesticides and all kinds of toxins that we can handle just fine. Our systems can, but he's very, very small and his system is very, very delicate. So fresh peas, no. Go with frozen peas. Make sure you look at the list of ingredients. It needs to have exactly one ingredient, peas. That's it. Nothing added, no vitamin C added, anything. And that's also the thing with the Epsom salts. You must make sure that there are no fragrances added, no preservatives, no anti-caking agents. Must be 100%, I think it's magnesium sulfate. Whatever Epsom salt is. It's got to be pure. And most of them are pure. The one I use is just like the regular Kroger store brand, and it's 100% the Epsom salt. So there's nothing in it. It cost me 99 cents, and it's fine. I think the peas might also be the Kroger brand as well. I'm not sure, but again, there's nothing added to it. It's just frozen peas. So you have your frozen pea and you're going to feed it to your fish. What you do is you blanch it. You boil it for about 5 minutes, and then you put it in ice cold water until it's cool to the touch. And then, super important, you take the skin off the pea. Super important. They cannot digest the skin. It will make your problems so much worse. So you take the skin off, and then you realize that the pea is actually in 2 halves inside the skin. You take one of those halves and you cut it in half again, and it's going to be a little quarter of a pea, and that's what you're going to feed them. And you need to cut that into even smaller pieces because a quarter of a pea is too big for them to eat in one bite. So you feed them a quarter of a pea twice a day for about 3 days. Now, the thing is, with him specifically, and any fish that's stuck on the surface like he is, the peas will sink. So what I do is I will put him back in this cup, and I will put the pea on a spoon, and I will set the spoon in the water just under the surface so that he can see it and he can just eat it off the spoon. And I will do that twice a day for about 3 days, and then I will slowly start adding the pellets. He will not get any bloodworms for a while. Bloodworms are very rich and they can cause constipation. So no bloodworms for about a week or 2. We're going to stick with just pellets and peas. And he'll be fine. I can see he's trying so hard to stay at the bottom. Oh, it takes so much effort. He's actually doing slightly better though, because before it used to be before he pooped specifically, the effort to stay at the bottom was just so much. He couldn't do it. Whereas now it takes constant effort, but he's able to do it. So he is improving. The more he poops, the better he'll feel. So it's just something we've just got to wait it out. It'll be a few days before he's back to his normal self, but he'll get there. And that is how you treat a constipated fish. And like I said, people fast. A lot of people, myself included, will fast their bettas once a week, just as a preventative measure, because they are so very much prone to constipation. The other thing is, I do feed my bettas a pea once a week, and I do it exactly the way that I described it. Every Friday, actually, they get a half a pea, a quarter of a pea in the morning, a quarter of a pea in the evening, and it just helps them keep their system regular. So constipation usually isn't an issue. With him, like I said, I think he was overfed. Big yawn. He's also, it looks like he's got the beginnings of fin rot. I can't tell if it's fin rot or if it's just his coloring. He does have the marbling gene. When he moves around, sometimes you can see this really pale, bright, almost like glowing blue in his scales, which is part of the reason he was surrendered to me. The teenage boy who owned him didn't like the blue. So, but he didn't have swim bladder disease. He didn't have issues. He didn't look particularly constipated when I got him. This was just overnight, so I'm really thinking that it was due to the stress of moving and being overfed, which it is so easy to feed them. Their stomach is the size of their eyeball, so very easy to overfeed them. But that's how you treat it, and that's what you do. And as long as you keep an eye on him and make sure that he has access to the surface, he'll be completely fine. He'll make a full recovery, and he'll have a very long and happy life. All right, Anakin, say goodbye. Time to go back in your tank. Bye.